What is the bill number?
In the House, it's 5413. In the Senate, it's 290.
Okay, and you mentioned a couple of areas of pushback. One of the things I'm hearing, especially from the hospitality industry, is that restaurants will go out of business because they can't afford it. So could you speak to some talking lines for those of us who are connected to the hospitality industry?
Yeah. So these are concerns shared among many industries, so it's not unique to hospitality. I think one thing that we bring up a lot is that people want to pay their dedicated and loyal employees well, and there are many employers who do that. Some are in the hospitality industry, and they're already doing that and seeing success. Part of the success is because people are more productive when they're coming to work healthy. So, and also the risk of sending somebody to work sick and getting your whole staff sick. I don't know what that would set a restaurant back if 4 other wait staff were out with a cold. So part of it's productivity, but the other part is saving costs on turnover. Searching for people to take the role of someone who you had let go. Costs money for the search, costs time for the interviews, and the training of a new staff person I saw a statistic that said can cost 25% to 200% of the original salary of the person that was let go. I'm not sure, couldn't find a lot of backup information on that, but just the cost of turnover is really high. So I think those would be my main arguments back. I see Aaron has another.
Just really quickly, I think two other things. One, 2 years ago when we were fighting for the first increase in the tip minimum wage in Rhode Island in a while, we heard the same arguments. Every restaurant was going to go out of business. We increased it. And when people bring it up, I say, it's weird. I was just having lunch in a restaurant today, and it's still there. But I think the other real thing is that everywhere that has passed this, and there's a bunch of states, including our neighbors, they've never seen any impacts like that. In fact, the people who have been some of the biggest opponents to this legislation initially, after it's been implemented, pretty consistently come around and say, actually, this was great. In San Francisco, the first jurisdiction to pass this, the head of the Golden Gate Restaurant Association, so the industry group for restaurants, he was the top person fighting it. A year later, there's a wonderful quote that I can share with you. He said, you know what, bang for your buck, this is like the best policy. We don't want our people coming to work sick, and it's, our fears that people would take the day off to go to the ball game have been totally unfounded. It's been great. So we've seen in other states that it's worked really well, and there's no reason to think it would in Rhode Island.
I'll also add another thing. I feel like when you think about increasing or adding a new labor standard, people think about how that would affect them as a business owner if it happened in isolation to them. And it does not put you at a competitive disadvantage when you do a broad labor standard. It just increases the floor of what workers get, but it doesn't mean that people picture, I will have to pay this, without thinking that so will all of my competitors. And so it actually, that's just a good thing to lodge in people's minds, that raising the floor helps workers and puts no business at a competitive disadvantage. So it is that's the reason why having broad-based labor standards is actually really good for the economy.
So I also want to point out that on your chairs when you came in was a fact sheet about the paid leave expansion bill that we're working on with Senator Golden and Representative Maldonado in the House. And so it looks like this, has our logo on it. So also we think it's really important both to expand the number of weeks that people are able to take time off after the birth of a baby or to care for a loved one. We know that AARP is here today and that they are big supporters of caregivers because we know Rhode Islanders is one of the fastest aging populations, and so more and more of us are going to be taking care of our more senior members, and so we think having those protections and then also making sure that when people are out on leave, they're able to get a benefit that reflects as high of their income as possible so they can afford to take that leave. So unless there are any other questions, I just want to point out that all of the presentations from today will be downloadable on our website shortly after this event. And if you have any other questions to follow up, we can certainly get you in contact with any of our presenters. And so if I don't see any other hands in the room, we'll take a short 5-minute break. There should be coffee on your tables, and if not, we'll find it. And then we'll switch out and turn to the healthcare side. So thank you all very much.